$1 shots. Silver Sevens, my spot. Silver Sevens Hotel and Casino on Flamingo in Paradise.
What's happening, man? Let's effing go. Let's go. Mendoza.
It's the JT the Brick Show. You know, we're going to have a lot of positive energy. The guys that love to compete and play with passion are going to have a chance at a place. Your Silver and Black, home to sound off over 25 years.
Man, I'm loving it, man. They're making my job tremendously easy to be out here with these young, talented players, man. I think we have a really good team. I'm super excited. I'm already loving this fan base. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT, here we go. Friday, man. It actually feels like a Friday, Clay, doesn't it? It feels like a Friday. Let's get out of here. Let's go have a good weekend. Mendoza versus Moore tonight. Oh, Raider Nation, you are front and center. Your two quarterbacks, yes, you have two. You have two competing for your heart and your love and your soul. Look at that. My son just put up a nice graphic on the YouTube. Moore versus Mendoza, and they're both, Clay, wearing Raider helmets. It's not possible we get both of them, do we, Clay? We only get one?
It shows you how split everybody is.
Yes.
But that's interesting. Yeah, you can't get one and two. You can only
can't
get
get them both, right? You can't get them both. We're only going to get one quarterback, and we need to find out who it's going to be, and that's the focus of the monologue, as we're brought to you by PTs. Man, what a great place tonight. Hey, let's let everybody know with over 70 taverns here in the Valley, you can go watch the game at PTs tonight. They got happy hour from 5 to 7, which are half-price drinks, okay? That means you can Uber or rideshare and have half-price drinks. Now, Vegas is getting a lot of heat because they're gouging, right? You can go to a bar and a casino and a drink might be $21 or $19. You go to PT's, it's half price, 5 to 7, man. The game's on. Go get your drink on, but make sure you drive responsibly. PT's, they fuel the monologue. So Clay and I, as we are topic developers, dating back to Sports Fan Radio Network, when we used to go to the printer to print out topics, I do this all in my mind. So as I'm setting up my machine, my live stream, and we're live on YouTube, and we got a lot of people here. You should be here already watching the show, and you can do it on your phone. Right? That's why we did this YouTube thing. You'll get an alert, and then you'll be able to see the show right on your phone. So that's YouTube, JT the Brick, YT, and it's right there. But here's the deal with the topic today in the first hour, because second hour we got Jason Horowitz, voice of the Raiders, and then we got the famed Lincoln Kennedy segment for the last time. Link and I and Eric Allen broke down the Spy Tech press conference and the season, and Lincoln was fantastic. We'll play that at some point second hour. So the first hour, wide open phones. I gave Chris Matthews, the king of the newsman, the day off. I wanted to open it up to some callers. I heard some vibrant callers on the morning show, and we don't want to get a few here, and it's a really basic, important topic. Do you care about the outcome of this game tonight with Moore versus Mendoza, or do you care about the performance? Very important. I don't care who wins. I don't care about Oregon and Indiana. But I am going to scrutinize every throw, because last night you saw Chambliss play really well, and Carson Beck played really well in a national semifinal. I didn't have a criticism of either one of them. Chambliss was a Division II player last year, and this guy could play in the NFL. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes, but he could be the next Malik Willis. He could be someone who's really good. And Carson Beck, nice to have a really good, composed Georgia quarterback leading Miami to the national championship game. Did you see him run it in for a touchdown? Geno couldn't do that all year. Geno Smith, making $70 million. I don't mind Geno. Think he's a good guy. Geno didn't do that all year. Carson Beck did. So tonight, I'm going to ask you a simple question as we open up the show. Do you care more about the outcome of the game or the performance? I care more about the performance. If Mendoza throws a pick or two and has a bad game, it's not going to blow me up, man. I am rational. I'm irrational at times, but I'm very rational when it comes to this pick for the Raiders, man. You got to be rational this time. I mean, I got to be the traffic cop on this one. I got to bring everybody together and kind of cool the jets and get people to think responsibly. So I'm not going to have what they call an overreaction, overreaction Monday, where I'm going to look at the game and say, that's it, no Mendoza. Oh, man, he was so bad, we can't do him again. I will not do that. You will. Oh, you will, because you rip on Gino. You rip on Kenny Pickett. You rip on the coach. You've been going nuts. You've been so aggro. You're like English soccer fans. You Raider fans are now turning into English soccer fans, man. Every goal that hits off the post, oh, it's the end of the world. You have been beaten and battered and bruised. I know what your reaction's going to be on Twitter at about 11 o'clock tonight. You're either going to have Mendoza locked and loaded as the first pick, or you're going to be running him out of Vegas. Oh, I know that. I'm an expert on this stuff. So I want to know from you what you're looking forward to tonight. You're going to watch the game, get yourself some chips, some food, some beverages. You're going to watch this game. I am looking for the individual performances. I want to see how quickly Mendoza can change the play and check down, or I'm a big fan of the pump fake, the Rich Gannon pump fake, pump left, move your hips, hit the guy open. I want to see, because I know Mendoza's pretty good at that. I want to watch it again. I want to see what Dante Moore can do. I don't know a lot about Dante Moore. Do you? I don't know a lot about him. UCLA and then goes to Oregon. And this guy didn't look like he was going to be a number 1 or 2 pick 6-7 months ago at all. Not at all. And now he could be number 1 or 2. So I want to know what you're looking forward to tonight with this game. Are you looking forward to the outcome? Because we might have some Oregon fans and Indiana fans that want to win the game more so than the individual performances. I don't care about the game. I mean, Cisco's saying Mendoza, over 300 yards and 3 TDs. No, not against Oregon. Oregon is tough. He already beat Oregon once. Oregon already has the game plan to stop him. They played him already. Oregon's making adjustments. So I don't know what he's going to do, but it's going to be fun to watch. So this is the Raider Bowl. We're calling it because the Raiders don't have their own bowl game. So this is the Raider Bowl between Indiana and Oregon for the 2 quarterbacks who can go number 1 to the Las Vegas Raiders. Clint Kubiak is interviewing today. That's my front runner to be the coach. If they hired Kubiak, I'd be happy, but I don't know how good he is or not. I don't know him. Right? The only thing I've heard about him is he's not a really big outgoing guy. And that could be a concern. Some people in Seattle have told me on and off the record he is a guy that he's not going to go into a room and everybody's just going to gravitate around him. He hasn't been that guy yet. Which is not his fault. His dad, Gary Kubiak, was a really good player and coach. He wasn't a guy that everybody just gravitated to until he had more experience. But I like the boxes of Kubiak. I like young play caller with a quarterback, young play caller who's in the playoffs now, who helped Sam Darnold get better, and he likes to run the football. That checks all the boxes for me. But I don't know his personality, nor do you. Nor does Jason Horowitz, who's going to join us. No one knows. So we don't know what Clint Kubiak is. We don't know. I know what John Gruden is. I got hired the same day he did. First time I met John Gruden, he got in my face. I knew John Gruden before most people. He was intense. I got a chance to interview Antonio Pierce every week for a year and a half. Got to know him. Pretty intense. You knew what you got with Antonio Pierce. No idea what Clint Kubiak is. I know what John Harbaugh could be. I don't want someone like Mike McDaniel as my head coach. I don't think so. But you notice, Clay, we have to be careful. We might have to scrub everything. My sons are teaching me how to go back on Twitter and scrub all the bad stuff you said. There's actually a way to go back on Twitter for 10 years and put in a search and take some of these guys' names out.
Got a long memory.
Yeah, I might have been trashing one of these guys who might be our next head coach. I mean, you don't think Mike McDaniel's going to be our next head coach, do you?
Very unlikely.
Very unlikely. So I can say what I wanted to say. I'm hoping Mike McDaniel isn't cruising around in a low-riding Bentley, cruising by all the nightclubs as our head coach. I think I'm pretty safe to say that's not going to happen. But as we open up the show, 702-365-9200, we really want to know what you think about this game tonight from Raider Nation's perspective. You Raider fans need to have a voice on this. I give you the summer off. I do give you the summer off. I mean, we do all the heavy lifting in the summer. We come up with topics, but you're on now, man. If you're Raider Nation, you're at a karaoke bar and you're singing. I like to sing at karaoke bars. As soon as I go in with 10 friends at a karaoke bar, I go, give me the mic. They go, what are you talking about? I go, I'll go first. I'm the guy who goes first. I break out Mustang Sally. I'll do a Joe Cocker song. I'll jump right into Seeger, and the whole place will go, wow, who's that guy singing up there? That's me. I get the crowd going. You're in a karaoke bar, Raider Nation. It's time you grab the mic. I need to know who's going to play quarterback tonight and who you want. That's our topic until we find out who the coach is we're going to pair with the pick. And then we're going to get to a point somewhere in the next 2 months where some NFL insider is going to say the Raiders should trade the pick. The Raiders should trade out of the pick. These two quarterbacks wouldn't have gone in the third round 2 years ago. We got to trade the pick. And then we'll have to put out that forest fire or that grass fire before it becomes a forest fire. So the two topics that we have going forward, and Q and I will be heading up to the Super Bowl. We'll be live from Radio Row from the Moscone Center in San Francisco. When we're there, we're going to try to interview Hall of Famers. Guys are going to be selling stuff. I'll be joined by Warren Moon, already booked Joe Montana. We'll do all those interviews because it's kind of fun for us. But everybody I'll interview, part of the interview will be Fernando or Dante Moore. And now we got to get Raider fans in on that because you're the face and voice of the Raider Nation. And I don't know who you want just yet. I'm sensing you want Fernando because you think he's bigger and stronger, and he is. And he's been really good. But I don't know. This guy Dante Moore could have a big game last night. I mean, Clay, a lot of people did not watch Patrick Mahomes play a snap in college. I'm talking a snap, not a game, not a college football national semifinal. We didn't have Pat Mahomes running around going, oh, my God, who's this guy? People didn't even know Patrick Mahomes in college until he went to Andy Reid.
No, it wasn't like ESPN Game Day was showing up in Lubbock. Watching those games. They were kind of playing in obscurity almost.
They were. Yeah, we didn't have the opportunity to have Mahomes in this situation tonight. And he turned out to be the greatest quarterback of the modern era of Tom Brady. And then who? Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Anybody remember watching Lamar Jackson at Louisville? He won the Heisman, so you should have watched him a little bit. You should have been able to see him a little bit, but you didn't tune into Louisville games. You didn't watch the game like you're watching tonight. So tonight is really interesting. Fernando Mendoza said, quote, I'm confident because I know my preparation is unmatched. Ooh, that's pretty cocky. Unmatched. Well, that's the type of stuff Gannon used to do. Gannon would prep so much in his MVP year, it was unmatched. And I like to see that. I like an athletic quarterback. I like a quarterback that can run. This has been a really good week for radio for us for a lot of reasons. Got some good stuff happening, good mojo. But these are the type of topics that I like, but I wish they never happened. I wish we weren't. I wish Pete Carroll won 9 games or 10 games and we're building and Pete's coming back. And I get a chance to go to dinner with Pete and say, hey, thanks for the year of all those interviews, coach. Let's do it again next year. That's out the window. I'd like to be able to, sit back and knew Geno Smith had a great year. Won 9 games, threw for 4,000 yards. Geno's going to be back year 2 of the contract. Maybe we're talking building a better relationship with Geno. That ship has sailed. And now we got to figure out who the coach is going to be. But instead of avoiding it, I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to embrace it. And that's what I want to do. I want to embrace this negativity and turn it into a positive. I get criticized for doing that. Oh, I'm a shill. I just asked. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry I work for the team. I apologize. I work for the radio station and we have advertisers. I apologize. I do. Yes, and I'm a Yankee today. I have my Yankee sweatshirt on. Had a nice walk in the park today with my Yankee pullover on. I'm a Yankee fan. We have 27 rings. The Dodgers have 8 or 9?
8.
8. Oh, thank you. I thought it might have been 9. It'll be 9 this year. Dodgers are going to get to 9. Alert the Paul Gutierrez, Harry Ruiz machine that the Dodgers are older than the Yankees, been around longer than the Yankees. They have 8 rings. The Yankees have 27. But this is Dodger country. Sure it is. All right, so that's where we are at today. One of the pieces of sound I wanted to play here in the monologue is from Brady Quinn, a former Notre Dame quarterback, on the Dan Patrick Show as he compared Mendoza to this high-priced, guaranteed quarterback.
Can you give me a comp for Fernando Mendoza? Kirk Cousins is kind of who when I'm watching his tape and see in regards to his throwing motion.
A higher end?
That's a tough question to answer because I also
he was a 4th round draft pick. That's why I was saying that this is going to be the number one. Now, granted, there's not a lot of quarterbacks in this draft.
I mean, if Dante Moore comes out, I'm not so sure he's not going to be the number 1 overall pick. Like I think there's a real argument to be made in his upside, his skill set. To me, if he came out, would be the purest passer. Meaning when you watch him, I think he's got a stronger arm. I think he layers throws better. I know he's not as experienced. And obviously, he's not the Heisman Trophy winner. And Fernando's had a tremendous year. I'm not taking anything away from that.
But let's take away the college stuff. Let's look at pro potential.
Right. So when I watch the tape of these guys and you're watching the different throws that they're making, I sit there and look at Dante Moore. And I said, yeah, that's the guy I probably feel like has the higher upside.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that Dante Moore probably has a higher upside than Fernando Mendoza. And the Harry Ruiz machine came back. It is 9. They're going for their 10th.
Oh, he's counting the Brooklyn Dodgers World Series.
Yeah, we're counting all the Dodgers.
Oh, okay. I was just talking LA Dodgers. Sorry, Harry.
No, we're counting them all.
Right,
we're counting them all.
We're
counting them all. If they three-peat, which unfortunately, I think they will, because they don't pay Ohtani. They don't have to pay him. You get the best player in the world. You don't have to give him any money. You don't have to give him any money. He just shows up. You just give him a couple extra hats and a couple extra bats and cleats, and you don't have to pay Ohtani. We got to pay Judge. We pay Cole and Judge. They don't have to pay Ohtani. But it will be 10. So if the Dodgers win this year, there'll only be 17 world championships behind the Yankees. But yes, they are going to win their 10. They're that good. So you just heard Brady Quinn throw out there that he's not sure. Right? He's not sure. I'm not sure. Clay's not sure. We're not positive. We're not positive on who's going to be the best quarterback. Now, here's what I was positive about. I am positive if Arch Manning was coming out this year, he'd go number 1 because no one can afford to pass on him. You might have him in the 2nd round. I don't care. You might have him the 4th quarterback. I don't care. You can't pass on Arch Manning because he could be Peyton Manning. So you can't pass. You can pass on Dante Moore because you don't know if he's going to be Peyton Manning. The guy with the same genes and DNA, the grandfather and the father of Peyton Manning and his grandfather might be Peyton. So Arch would have went 1, and he played his ass off and played great for most of the season, but he didn't beat Ohio State and everybody threw him under the bus. Arch is going number 1 next year. It's the lock of the year. I even got some Raider fans saying tank this year to get Arch. No. I can't tank. I can't tank. I need to win some games. I need to pull in my garage. I can't have as many losses as I've had the last 2 seasons after the postgame. So Dante Moore might be better, but Mendoza looks safer. See, I just said it. It took me 17 minutes to say the safer pick looks to be Mendoza because of his size, his strength, his height. That looks to be the safer pick. So watch the game tonight. Enjoy the game and tell me what you think about the game. We're calling it the Raider Bowl, and it should be a lot of fun. Jesse in Alameda starts us off, man, right where the old facility used to be. Hello, Jesse.
JT, how's your day going?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good. I wanted to talk about the head coaching hire. I really want an offensive-minded head coach because even if we knock the head coaching, like if we pick the right coach this year and it's a defensive guy and he brings in a great offensive coordinator, he's just going to get hired by another team. And then we have to look for another coordinator. If we have an offensive-minded head coach, he will develop Fernando Mendoza and stay with him hopefully for his entire career. Again, if we get this right, which I hope we do.
Yeah, we have to get it right.
All of our former head coaches, even McDaniels, it looked like a lock in the beginning because of all the championships he won with the Patriots. I like the hire. I'm just bummed it didn't work out.
Yeah, a lot of the hires didn't work out. Appreciate it. I mean, Josh McDaniels came in with all the credentials. He came in with all the credentials. I mean, won 6 Super Bowls. Yeah, he did call the plays. He built the playbook with Brady. That's fair credentials. And he had 11-year break in between what he was doing in Denver, and it didn't work. Josh McDaniels was not a good head coach. There were a lot of things that Josh McDaniels didn't do great as a head coach, and it didn't work. And then the Raiders went with Antonio Pierce because he motivated the team to play hard. And they did play hard underneath him. And he earned the right to get another year. But then the team lost 10 in a row. So they let him go and brought in Pete Carroll, legend. And Pete Carroll would have been here for 3 years easily. But he lost so many games and the team played so badly that there was no choice than they had to let him go. Notice I'm not getting any phone calls about Pete Carroll being let go now. And he was just let go last week because people realized he's a great guy, he's a legend, and he could not win with this group, so he's not going to be back. So for everybody who's mocking Mark or other people, even Brady, saying, well, there's no consistency here with the team, you're right. They're firing people who can't win. And the next guy who gets hired, he's going to get about 2 or 3 years. The good news is for the next guy who gets hired, he will get a couple of years because you just can't keep coming back and firing people unless he pulls an Aaron Glenn. Like I say, Aaron Glenn can't coach. So Aaron Glenn left Detroit to be the head coach of the Jets. You're like, man, this is a pretty good pick, right? This guy's like aggressive, hardcore. He's great. Like he's going to be good. He was so bad that you needed to fire him. Pete Carroll was so great that the team was so bad, it left them with no other choice other than to make a new decision to go in a different direction. So everybody wants to win when they get here. And now I think it is a little bit different. I think Tom Brady's involvement is going to increase. I think that John Spytek learned a lot from what he didn't know with Pete Carroll and what him and Pete Carroll tried to kind of navigate through that didn't work. I was super impressed that John Spytek opened up his press conference taking accountability. I banged the drum. Right after that, we were live on the set. I said, they go, what's my big takeaway? My big takeaway is John Spytek opened up the press conference saying, we let Pete Carroll go, but this is much about me as it is him. I thought that was a monumental moment for that young man, that GM, because he took accountability. Now he's got to go win, and we all know that. So with everybody that's here and who's going to be left, and a lot of the coaches are not going to be here, most of the coaches are not going to be retained, whoever's going to be the head coach is going to hire a new coaching staff, and we got to get going. We got to get the better coaches that are still out there as assistants to come work with our new coach. So as I talked to Vinny outside, Vinny was still here working a little bit late, and we were talking about Kevin Stefanski. I don't have a problem with Kevin Stefanski. I typically I don't think it's great to hire the coach who just got fired. A bunch of coaches just got fired. I normally don't want the Raiders to hire the guy who got fired. I don't mind the Raiders hiring the guy that took a year off like Pete Carroll or Mike McCarthy. I can live with that, but we might end up hiring a guy who just got fired. If it's Stefanski and he blew everybody away and he gets another interview. What I'm guessing, not suggesting, what I'm guessing is Kubiak's interviewing today. He's got to get focused. They're on the bye week, right? That's a Zoom interview on a Zoom. He's going to get a second interview. I would assume Stefanski's going to get a second interview. They're going to try to get an interview possibly with John Harbaugh. They're interviewing a couple of Denver guys. And then they're going to send out the invites for the second interview. And I would think the second interview would include Stefanski and Kubiak. And it might come down to those two or someone else. That's how we got to play this out. Mike in Staten, Italy. Mikey, how you betting this game tonight, man? You're a sharp gambler. You going Mendoza or more?
Well, you're exactly right on this, JT. I'm going the over. I think both quarterbacks, the coaches knows what's in it for them. And you're not talking about next week when they play Miami. It's when I want to see the quarterback that wins this game, how he does against an NFL defense. As good as Oregon is and as good as Indiana are, I don't think they got 5 first-round draft picks in that, the front 7 of the other team like Miami does with a difference maker. JT, the coach I want to get is all dependent on, I know you're saying that we have to stay there and take a quarterback with this pick, but if this guy Willis, he's 26 years old, already the game is kind of slowed down for him a little bit. If we could sign him to a make-good contract 1 year, because you just said it best, the better quarterbacks are coming out next year, the Mannings and a few others. Can we take a shot with Willis, trade that first pick, maybe get 2 or 3 first-round picks, rebuild the offensive line in 1 year, and then if our season wasn't up to standards next year, we have a little draft capital. We go get the quarterback next year, and we fill the lines. We take a shot with a win.
No. We don't take this team down to the studs and to play this badly and go with Willis and give up our opportunity to have a generational quarterback, Mikey. We got to take a chance. We got to fire. We're loaded. We got to fire for the number 1 pick and get a quarterback. We got to get the best quarterback available for this franchise.
And I have confidence in Spytek that is going to end Brady, that they're going to put Willis into this mix.
Okay.
JT, let's let that play out for a second. But with this game tonight, I think it's going to be fast-paced, up-tempo offense, and you're going to be able to see. What I'm concerned about with the kid from Oregon is if he's able to throw over the middle because of his size. That's the only thing why I really like the kid Mendoza. I hope he's better than Cousins, but you could win a Super Bowl with a young Cousins. If that's the case. You're right, JT. They have to nail this. They can't have another Jamarcus Russell because he could, stand on his throw the ball 50 yards in the air. It's a huge thing. But like you said, JT, I don't care if we have Fran Tarkenton back. We don't fix this offensive line. We're not going anywhere.
Yep. Thanks, Mikey. Take care. Have a good weekend. Good luck. We have breaking news, Clay. Breaking news. Mel Kiper's big board is out. Breaking news. Dante Moore, number 1. Mendoza, number 2.
Oh,
Mel Kiper. Who the hell is Mel Kiper? Remember that, Mike?
Tobin.
Yeah, I actually think Mel's great. This is what he does for a living. All he does is watch tape. So he has, wow, that's interesting. So they just flashed it up there from the Peach Bowl. There it is. Mel's got Dante Moore, number 1, Mendoza, number 2. Now, most program directors, we got a good one here, but most of them out in the real world would say, that's good for radio, man. You can stir the pot. I don't want to stir the pot. I'm not into stirring the pot. I want to get the best guy available. That's the monologue. We appreciate everybody listening here. That's brought to you by Modelo, the fighting spirit of Modelo. On Friday, I reward myself with a bucket of Modelos for everything we've been through together. It's Friday. It's a Modelo Friday. It's the best beer you could have. They're ice cold. My wife makes a bucket of it for me on Friday, and I sit in the backyard and I drink my bucket of Modelos on a Friday on Raider Nation Radio.
Previously on Unnecessary Roughness.
Hey. All right, man. It's pretty easy. You do about 27 minutes in a monologue. You take a couple calls. You do another 10. Take a break. Do another 5. Then you do an hour and you're home for the weekend. Yeah, Dante Moore. Is your official and exclusive local casino partner of the Las Vegas Raiders and Allegiant Stadium. Bring your friends, have some fun. We're always there. And as the Mel Kiper big board. Mel Kiper big board. He's going Mendoza. I don't know, Cisco. Mel Kiper's going Mendoza. The Las Vegas Raiders. Wasn't your game day whiskey? It is now. Raise a bottle at your next tailgate and toast them silver black. The limited edition Black Hole bottles now available at whatsinwhiskey.com. Promo code JT the Breaker.
Yeah, claim that's Dante Moore.
Okay. Yep.
That's more enough already.
Shit. We celebrate responsibly. JT Grimaldi's is hands down my favorite pizza in Vegas. Only at Grimaldi's can you get their famous New York style coal-fired Pagoda pizza. Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley, or check it out online at Grimaldi'sPizzeria.com.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis Seminars. Lose the weight or stop smoking. Link today.
What's happening, chat? What's going on today? We got 336 in here. That's a good number, man. That's a good number for a Friday, just on YouTube and X alone.
Seminars.com.
There's talk about less beef. But when you read the fine print, you'll discover they have so many restrictions, it's really an empty promise. Here's offering every client segment gets our less beef guarantee.
All right, the tweet is out. The tweet is out. Mel Kiper has Dante Moore over Mendoza. Raider Nation, you good with this? Wow, Dante Moore, 3,280 yards, 28 TDs. Mendoza, 36 TDs, 6 interceptions. 36 and 6. That's a pretty good number. Oh.
Interest, because if somebody's making money off your checking account, funds privately insured by American Share Insurance.
This winter, earn cash for betting sports on the
What's going on this weekend, Clay? What do you got lined up?
Chickies on Sunday. That's all I can
Sure. So is that a Sunday early start or a later start? Noon to 3.
Halfway through that, Eagles start 1:30. That's a Philly party. Eagle fans we get in there.
Good.
participating locations. Yeah. Oh boy.
I'm listening great spots in Vegas to visit later in the year. There are a lot of great spots in Vegas. Kuiper was right to say Shedeur was a first-round pick. I thought Shedeur was a first-round pick, too. I thought most of it was a politics TV scam that screwed over Shedeur. Modelo Pizza and the Peach Bowl. Yes.
God forward.
Oh.
College aren't dinners.
It's a good game tonight, man. I just hope it's a good game, man.
It'd be great if it was a shootout.
Yeah.
They came down to like a bad kick or something, so the quarterbacks are exonerated.
Regardless of who you are, if you pursue nursing education at Galen, we'll do everything we can to support you. Visit galencollege.edu to learn more. Galen is provisionally licensed to operate by the CPE.
College football playoff semifinals on ESPN. Those faces my head.
I thought Shedeur looked pretty good, Big D, at times, man. He won 3 games. Can you say that about a Raider quarterback? No. So Shedeur outplayed the Raiders and the Raider quarterback. So I'd take it easy on Shedeur. Thank you, Jesse. I want Mendoza. I watched him at Cal for 2 years. Keep that up there, Jason.
Modelo Especial, the new #1 beer in the U.S.
You know, we got a guy up there. Who in the hell is Mel Kiper in a way?
Can you give me a comp for Fernando Mendoza?
Kirk Cousins is kind of who when I'm watching his tape and see in regards to his
higher
motion.
A higher end?
That's a tough question to answer because
Can be in the backfield now with Fernando Mendoza. Takes the snap. Fernando looks left, fires it down the field. He's got some. What a perfect throw by Fernando! 24 yards, and Indiana scores again.
That's IU Radio. Also, Brady Quinn, little Mel Kiper from Clay Baker there. JT back with you on X, also on YouTube. This comes in from Jesse Jason 6868. I want Mendoza. I watched him at Cal for 2 years. Well, I mean, I did watch him at Cal for 2 years. He went from Cal and he cruised over to Indiana, and now he's legendary. Bill Shepard tweets in at my GS Dog Havoc. He says, Matt LaFleur is my first choice, either in a trade or if he got fired by Green Bay. Kubiak, yes. LaFleur, yes. Davis Webb, yes. And he would be okay. Nagy, Saleh, Joseph, no. Flores, hell no. Because of the Fitz video. He had 2 OCs at the same time. Crosby told his agent he didn't want to be drafted by Miami. Kevin Stefanski, rather have others I mentioned. Oh, that's where we seem to be. We haven't narrowed down this coaching search, everybody. This coaching search is expanding. Search is expanding. You should get through right now if you'd like to get through on who do you want tonight, Mendoza or Moore. If you don't have an opinion on that, then you don't have an opinion for my show. And my show demands a great opinion. Okay, you don't have to be the greatest caller in the world, but you got to have opinions to get here. This isn't, hi, how you doing? What movie did you watch? This is, I need this to be a Raider fan. We got to get this done. So it's Mendoza or more going into the game, because Monday we're going to have reaction to the game. 702-365-9200. Wanted to play this soundbite from the press conference of John Spytek with his vision with Tom Brady. Everybody is talking about this. They were having a discussion this morning on NFL Live about the alignment of Tom Brady. Everybody wants to know what Brady does. When does he clock in? When does he show up? Well, you'll find out soon enough. Here's the presser.
It's about team before self. It's about discipline. It's about accountability. It's about work ethic. Winning is fun, but it comes at a price, and it is required every day. Otherwise, this league is far too competitive, and he's felt it. I've felt it. You can feel like you're close, but if you're off by a couple different things, you can end up at 3-14. And we've got to put a process and a system in place that demands the best of our players, of our coaches, of our entire football operations, and really the entire building every day. And I've been here a year now. I've got to know MD ownership. I know what the expectations are. I've got to know the building, I think, really well. And we've got a plan in place, and we're gonna start working on it. And the goal is constant, meticulous improvement, so that this organization and the Raider Nation can be proud when they walk into Allegiant Stadium.
Okay, so he has a plan in place. I believe that. I don't know what the plan is per se, but he told you a lot of it. It's discipline, passion. Do you want to be here or not? I thought a big moment last year was you started looking at the players who didn't want to be here, right? Wilkins was let go for his shenanigans in the locker room. I don't know what he did in the locker room. I don't know who he touched or what he did. I could care less. He didn't get picked up by another team. No one picked him up. Okay, I thought he was going to be a great player. He was a Pro Bowler before he got here. God, did that cost a lot of money. And I think the Raiders got relief financially on that contract, but what a bust he was. What a bust. To bring in a guy like that from Miami who was supposed to help Max and be a star, he was a bust. We cannot have any more players who are a bust, via the draft or free agency. The players that come in here have to play at the highest level. They have to play at the extreme highest level of their careers. Now, I was talking to a couple of guys about this recently, a couple of friends outside the building. Did Isaiah Palomal play his best? I don't know. I don't think he played great. Did you walk away this season saying Isaiah Palomal is your safety? Clay, do you believe like he's an unmovable object? You can't move him?
I was happy to have him.
Yeah.
Because there was very little around him.
Do you want to develop him another year or two, or do you want him to step up and compete for Pro Bowls like Trayvon Merrick, who wanted out of here?
Like to see that.
Yeah. Right. So we got to find out. Trayvon Merrick couldn't wait to get out of here, not because of the culture or anything. He just knew that he was going to get overpaid. The Raiders weren't going to overpay for Trayvon Merrick. I think they would have paid the market for Spillane. And Spillane signed like 18 seconds into free agency. He wanted to go back east. He wanted to play for Vrabel. He went there. Good move for him. We needed to keep Robert Spillane. We weren't able to do it. Could we have upped the money and kept him? I think we probably could have. It just happened too fast. I don't think anybody got burned by it. I think Spillane looked at the deal and said, yeah, I want to go. That's okay. I could care less that we lost Nate Hobbs or Divine Diablo. So many games I did the post-game show and Nate Hobbs wasn't playing and Divine Diablo didn't even have a tackle. Didn't have one tackle in a football game, and people are calling me, well, we let Divine Diablo go and Nate Hobbs. Who cares? Those guys aren't elite players. We need elite players, man. Now, I like Jeremy Chin because he hits. Jeremy Chin is a bad guy, man, in a good way. He's a dog. Give me more Jeremy Chin. I want to see him as a leader and see what he does this offseason. Everybody else, I get whoever comes back, I'm going to support. I'm going to support him, but I have to have an opinion. I'm a radio host. If I don't see Tyree Wilson and Malcolm Kuntz play again, I'm good. I watched them play for years. I know what they can do. They can't do anything compared to what TJ Watt can do and all these guys on the Houston Texans. I want the Houston Texan guys who were drafted in the 3rd round to be our first rounders. Get me those guys. We need those guys. We got to find players and teach them and develop them and get them to go to the next level. And they got to be really more physical and intense players. Got a chance to watch Tonka, J.J. Pegues. I like those guys. They're going to stay. They're on rookie deals. I like Adam Butler. I think Adam Butler likes being a Raider. Did he play to the best of his ability? He's a good player. He's good. He's not a Pro Bowler. I don't think so. He can develop into a Pro Bowler. Max was a 4th-round pick. He could be Defensive Player of the Year in a year. We need better players, and they got to have more anger to them, and they got to be more physical. All right? I was all for the Pete Carroll jump shots. Let's take some jump shots after practice. That was great. I want guys throwing their helmets. I want dogs. I want guys who are animals playing football for the Raiders. You don't have to live in the past. You don't need to punch an opposing GM like Matt Millen. You don't have to do that. But we'd like to have some old Pirates and some guys who got energy and want to be here. And it's hard to find them in the draft. You go get a Tommy Eichenberg out of a big program and you bring him in and you're like, the guy can barely get on the field. The guy can barely get on the field. Then he gets on the field and he's okay. Mm-hmm. He's not Ray Lewis. He's not Phil Villapiano. So, you got guys, Clay, that are going to make the team on special teams and get invited back. Like Trey Tucker should be coming back, right? He's a good player. No problem with that. No problem with that. We're going to have guys like that are coming back. I have no problem with. But where are the savages? Where are the savages coming in? Do you feel comfortable finding them in the draft? I don't. I don't think they're in the draft. I think they're either in the house already and you develop them differently with the different coaches, or you get them from other teams.
Yeah, you hope a coach can push a button on a guy and change the way their attitude is and the way they play on the field. But in the draft, those are unproven commodities when you're looking for that kind of player.
Raider Reggie, my guy in North Las Vegas, man. North Las Vegas. That's when you drive past me in Summerlin, right? That's when you drive past me in Summerlin on the 215. You keep going.
Everything.
There you go. There you go.
Hey. I've been trying to talk to Clay. I've called in and just timing didn't work out, but I'm glad I got through today. And you are on it. Listen, the thing about the draft, right, is you got to have accountability with the people that's doing the evaluation. This has been an issue for us in every draft. It's like we want to draft a guy and make him a project versus drafting the best guy at that position. We're getting a guy that we want to develop into something. You got to go get the guy that's the man on the field that's doing his job at his position. Now, when it comes to this quarterback thing, I don't want it to be a project. I know that right now they're saying Fernando short term, right away he's ready. But we all hear the story that, what's his name, Moore could be long term. But I'm like, you got to have the right people looking at it and evaluating it and making the right decision. And I'll take either one. If they choose that guy, they got to know that he's the man. You can't get somebody that you're not sure of. And then when it comes to this free agency, man, we've blown it. We grab these guys and they don't even show up for one game. They didn't show up for the money you paid for them, and they don't show up to even lead these youngsters. So we can't do that either. Who is evaluating the guys that they're bringing in? Because we've been making too many mistakes over and over in both situations, free agency and draft. I'm just hoping this year we're not saying this when the season starts next year. Raider Nation, stand up, HJT. I'm hoping to see you a couple of times in person before the season starts. And hey, let's go. We watch this game tonight and see what's going on with Moore or Mendoza.
Well, I'm expecting you to call me Monday with an evaluation, and don't kill the guy that has the bad game. One of them might have a bad game, and I don't want to sit here and trash that kid on Monday. It's just one game.
See, check this out. I found out last week that my cousin is Mr. Chambliss out there that just lost with Ole Miss.
Really?
And that's a shame what they did to him with that interference call. I thought that was interference. They dragged that guy down to the ground. So that broke my heart because when I found out he was my cousin, I'm like, I already like the guy. now I'm really rooting for him, and that happened to him. So I don't know what's going to happen with him. He's more of a guy that I think you would have to work with long term as well. But yeah, Monday I will call because I'm watching the game and I'm going to pay close attention to everything I can so I can give you my thoughts on those two quarterbacks.
Well, I respect your opinion, my friend. Take care, buddy. Raider Reggie, good guy. Sits right across the aisle with me, with Fabian at the Raider game, man. Love my seatmates that I sit with during the game. I actually have seats. I have seats to the game. And love seeing the fans in the 132 area there, the Twitch Club. 702-365-9200. Look, these quarterbacks, we've been really watching Clay, good quarterback play, right? We turned on Carson Beck last night. I'm watching with my youngest son. So real cool story. My oldest son, who I'm so proud of both my sons. My youngest son works here with us right now. My oldest, who's in the NIL world, he works in NIL. So he was at the game. He was at the game last night. He went to the game. He had a player in the game. And he was driving home with a coach last night from Phoenix home. So my wife, being the mom, didn't go to sleep because they were driving 4.5 hours. And you just know when your kids are on the road that late at night. And he came all the way back to be at work today. And we were texting and talking about the game last night, and the quarterback play was really good on both sides. I mean, no, we're not talking about Chambliss and Carson Beck. I wouldn't take Carson Beck number 1 overall, but that guy could end up being a decent NFL quarterback.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, especially with all those touchdowns he threw to Brock Bowers.
Yes.
And playing in Georgia.
Right.
And it was a game where really it opened up after into the second half, and after that third quarter, then you could see that guys are really starting to hit their stride and hit their tendencies. And I like the fact that even Chambliss is now getting a lot of good run right now. But Carson Beck is somebody that was once thought of as a no-doubt first round.
No doubt first rounder. And I think he's still the veteran quarterback. When you saw Carson Beck play last night, Bo Nix, who I watched play his last game against Michael Penix Jr., I was at the game. I watched Bo Nix play. I wasn't blown away. I said, that's Bo Nix. I was more impressed with Carson Beck last night than I was with Bo Nix. And Bo Nix went number, 12 overall because we got Brock 13. And in the hot tub time machine, if we would have ended up getting Bo Nix at 13, would he have developed here in Vegas the way he developed with Sean Payton? I don't know. Probably not. That's a compliment to Sean Payton. I don't give out many. I think Sean Payton got Bo Nix to where he is better than that would have happened here. And we got some good coaches here that are probably not going to be here, but they're not at the level of Sean Payton.
And we talked a little earlier about how outcomes are often drawn into performances. And were you the quarterback that won the big game? And I worry about tonight, if the quarterback that doesn't win, how does that perception go around Raider Nation? Because no one ever wants to pick the loser. If he was that good of a quarterback, he would have put the team on his back and won that game himself.
Yeah.
Everyone has that kind of feeling. And Bo Nix was kind of involved into that. Yeah, they had a great season in his last season with Oregon, but they didn't beat Washington for the conference championship. And they held that against them the way people would hold Peyton Manning not being able to beat Florida. I mean,
Peyton Manning couldn't win the Heisman and he couldn't beat Florida.
Right.
Yeah, Tom Brady couldn't get on the field until at the end of Michigan, right? And then look what Tom Brady developed into. Let's get out to Gary in New Mexico on the Raiders mobile app. Hello, Gary.
Hey, good afternoon.
What's happening?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, great. I just wanted to touch base with you. You said we should have an opinion, and I'm still on the bench. I haven't really seen a whole lot of more play, but I do like Mendoza's play based on the Rose Bowl that I saw. So kind of still out there, but I guess the Raiders are still out there also. Maybe maybe that's what they're looking at also. I don't know, but I just wanted to say that I've been a long time Raider fan. And it's been gone through some tough years.
Yeah.
And we worked our way through it. But just like the previous gentleman was on, spoke about making the same mistakes over and over again with gentlemen or individuals, players that come in and don't produce. I think we Crosby is the exact opposite of the dog that you were talking about.
Yeah.
He was taken late, and I don't think anyone expected that from him. But boy, he put in the work, and boy, he shines like crazy now. And so, having and finding those dogs, especially special teams is huge.
I agree.
And it's not an easy thing to do. If it was easy, then everybody would have them, right?
Yep, you're right about that. Yep, got to run, my friend. I'm up against it. Appreciate it very much. We've been telling you about Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men. It's the men's spa on Sahara, 9420 West Sahara. That's where you can go from everything from the hydrofacial to Botox to hair regeneration if you want to lose weight. It's the men's spa that I go to, Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men. They got unbelievable New Year's specials. Be a part of it.
Today, for you build a mobile sports account.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Sports app allows you to bet on the go from any iPhone, iPad, or Android device from anywhere in Nevada. Sign up today and you will never miss another bet. With the largest wagering menu, the mobile sports app features same-game parlays, early cash out, and live in-play wagering on all major sports. For more information, official rules, and to see participating sign-up locations, visit williamhill.us. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You know, Josh, if you're hurt on the job, they call it workers' compensation. That makes it sound like you're easily compensated. They ought to call it what it is. Workers' confusion, workers' confounded, workers' complication. They have so many rules, filings, and time limits. Most workers are completely lost and finally give up. Yep. If you're hurt on the job, don't try to go it alone. And don't wait. Deadlines are strictly enforced. And call the Richard Harris Law Firm. 444-4444.
Hey, it's JT. Grimaldi's is hands down my favorite pizza in Vegas. Only at Grimaldi's can you get their famous New York-style coal-fired brick oven pizza. Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley, or check them out online at grimaldispizzeria.com. This is JT for the Black Hole, home to football's most notorious fans. The Black Hole Fan Store is now open Fridays through Sundays inside the world-famous Golden Nugget Resort Casino on Fremont Street. This isn't just a store, it's the official Black Hole Fan Store. One-of-a-kind apparel and merchandise created by the fans for the fans. And Black Hole members save 20%. Join now at theblackhole.com. Once a member, always a member.
The Vegas Golden Knights are rolling through another epic season. There's nothing more refreshing than an ice-cold Surfside to enjoy while you cheer on your Knights on the ice. Surfside is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. That's right, no carbonation. So it's easy to sip and enjoy. It's not seltzer, it's Surfside, official partner of the Vegas Golden Knights. Sold in arena and at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Yeah, sure. Let's do like 3-4 minutes here. So let's go back to Brady Quinn's talking about Oregon's offense is more
party on Sunday, February 8th at 2 p.m. Your ticket guarantees reserved seating surrounded by 50 giant TVs, plus a free t-shirt and raffle prizes all day long. And your ticket doubles as a food and beverage credit. Perfect for world famous credit prize and ice cool drinks. And for the ultimate play, William Hill betting station access inside Chickies and Beach. Reserve now at LasVegas.com.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by Comisario Tequila, the official tequila of the JT the Brick Show.
But I think the difference for me, again, is just I think Dante's got a little bigger arm. I think he can create a little bit more. He's less experienced and obviously doesn't have the same type of tape, but it's just effortless, man. When you watch him, the way he throws the football. And the one concern I have a little bit for Fernando is they run a bit more of a heavier RPO offense. And so that doesn't translate quite as well to the next level. We always talk about progressive quarterbacks read defenses and understanding what they're trying to take away. I think you see a little more NFL throws, more of an NFL style offense from what Dante's asked to do in Oregon as opposed to maybe what you're seeing from Fernando at IU.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's Brady Quinn who was on with Dan Patrick, and he made a really good point about the fact that maybe there's more tape of Dante Moore doing more athletic things outside the pocket. Because we haven't watched a lot of them, but except the diehards. College football fans are diehards. I got buddies of mine who are Georgia fans. My son went to Oklahoma. He doesn't miss a game. So if I ask my son about an Oklahoma quarterback, he knows them inside and out. I don't know Mendoza inside and out or Dante Moore, but I'm going to try to interview the people that do. And Brady Quinn is in that business, and he knows that Dante Moore has done a lot. He's done a lot outside the pocket. Unscripted plays. He can do things, and Oregon typically has a more explosive offense dating back to Chip Kelly. But now we're seeing an offense here with Kirk Cignetti and what we're seeing with Mendoza, where it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful thing when the ball comes out. Clay, tell everybody you're at Chickies and Pete's coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, Sahara's over 12-3 on Sunday. Wild card weekend. We'll be watching Bills, Jags, and then it leads into the Eagles matchup against the Niners.
Ooh.
Come and say hello with the food and drink specials, the great atmosphere, and the William Hill Sportsbook. Chickies and Pete's.
And that's a Philly bar, too. They typically order Philly cheesesteaks. Are they going big on that? Or do the Philly guys get off the Philly cheesesteaks because they have it all the time?
Well, you can get the Philly, but you can't whiz it up. They have their own cheese sauce there. So, no, you can't ask for the cheese whiz. They got their own cheese. But they actually have a special area that looks like Old Veterans Stadium where they hold people with their neck over the railing. So they can recreate, the old feelings. So it's like home in the Lowe's section.
Yeah, the 700 section where I almost died as a 16-year-old in a Phil Simms jersey.
Come on out, relive the good times.
Relive the good times. Jason Horowitz joins us on the other side. Haven't talked to him since the Torch, where he was at the Torch for the last game. And Jason Horowitz got a win. And he's the voice of the Raiders, and I want to see more of his winning calls coming forward because I think he does a really good job, man. In a lot of these games, the Raiders are getting beat badly, and he's still calling the game really professionally. So we'll have him coming up on the other side. Then we got our final Lincoln Kennedy segment of the season, and we just started the year. It's Lincoln, Eric Allen, and I from Raiders Roundtable. We play it because it's good. I wouldn't play it if it was filler. I don't play filler. I play what I do, my content, and I think the best content, some of it that we do all week, is Lincoln Kennedy. So you'll catch a little bit of that on the other side. And then we're looking to hear from you. What are you doing tonight for the Raider Bowl? Tonight is the Raider Bowl. Mendoza versus Moore. Who are you pulling for? I'm not pulling for either one of them. I just want to see a good game. Last night was a fun game to watch. My family and I watched it. My son and my wife, as my other son was at the game, and we were on the edge of our seat. And the U, Miami, will host the national championship game.
Hey, what's up, Stu Myers? It's playoff time.
All right, now I can focus on the chat here. Let's chat it up. Give me a couple of things. Tell me what you're thinking.
You could enjoy $3.
Yeah, I can't go back. And we got a lot of people in here, almost 500. Goes fast. Bruce Arian says Mendoza will be a franchise QB. I'll take his word. Okay. I always love when people come to the Torch.
Hey, Mike, I want to take your thoughts. We got a guest coming up next. If you want to go back, you want to hold on. Right after we talk to Jason.
When you are injured,
Mountain Mike's Pizza. Mountain Mike's Pizza. I've never heard of that, Big D. Where's that? Sounds like it's in a ski area or something. Something like in Tahoe.
That we proudly carry on.
Right.
It's 2 hours now. Oh, yeah. Okay, so 11:10.
The expert field team at DeCastroverde. We founded this firm for you. We're the DeCastroverde brothers, and we have your back.
Brotherswin.com. See your Vegas Golden Knights on Saturday, January 31st against the Seattle Kraken. Party Deck, presented by Sire Spirits. The Party Deck is where all the off-the-ice excitement happens. From the Knights Castle to the Night Line. Tickets in the Party Deck are stadium room only. Tickets start at just $39. Go to VGKTicketExchange.com for all the info. That's VGKTicketExchange.com. Sponsored by West Arc Credit Union and Centennial Subaru.
Cool, man.
Resorts
All
and
right.
Farms for $50 by mobile 48 hours before the game. March at the Rio Hotel Casino in Las Vegas on January 10th and 11th.
Fernando will be hiking Red Rock. More stunting on the strip. Yeah, well, we'll see. I live very close to Red Rock. My cousin went there playing at the last 2 weeks ago, and I said, "Well, go to Red Rock."
Show Saturday and
Went
Sunday,
out to Red
January
Rock.
10th and 11th.
My son took him out to Red Rock, did a lap around Red Rock, and down the park 3 times.
Vince Sapienza here with the morning tailgate. I have got to talk to you about one of the premier sports
Give me a
lounges
nerve
in
like
the Valley,
Andrew Luck.
General
I kinda
Admission,
agree
Las
with you.
Vegas. This is not your average sports bar. From the double smash burger to my personal
Well, you better
favorites,
not
the
make
sushi
a
and
wrong
ceviche.
decision with the
Food
first
made
pick.
from scratch.
Because I lived
General
with
Admission Las
Jamarcus
Vegas
Russell.
features over
I
30
lived
big
that.
screen TVs,
I had a front row
24
seat
different
to
beers
that.
on draft, and it's family.
That was a disaster.
Find them online.
I'll let Horowitz know we're calling in 5.
Toyota.
Is that good?
Top of the hour?
Yeah, I like to do 5 after.
Okay, all right. We have open lines at the moment.
Tacoma. Trucks are built to handle anything you throw at
Mike and Mike.
them.
Yep.
But these offers won't last. Come see us at
I don't mind having a few open lines during the day. I hate it at night. This night's a lot harder than this little 2-hour wind sprint. This is a wind sprint.
Campus. Modelo is an official service of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste. Brewed with fighting spirit since 1925. If you were injured in an accident, why would you call anyone but the Richard Harris Law? We fight for the largest possible settlement in every case, recovering billions for our clients. Who you hire matters.
I haven't talked to Eddie Pascal in a while. Hopefully Eddie puts his pick up on I would assume Eddie, who's an Oregon fan, is probably going pretty big on Dante Moore.
Points for both wagers made January 1st through March 15th, win or lose. You can earn even more Winter Rewards points for teasers, parlays, and same-game parlays. Sign up for the William Hill mobile app today and opt in to enroll in Winter Rewards. To see participating locations, visit williamhill.us. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Never miss another show. Streams live or listen to past podcasts 24/7 at LVSportsNetwork.com. This is Raider Nation Radio 920 AM, KRLP Las Vegas. It's the JT the Brick Show.
We're going to have a energy. The guys that love to compete, play with passion, are going to have a chance in the place.
Your silver and black home to sound off for 25 years.
Man, I'm loving it, man. They're making my job tremendously easy to be out here with these young, talented players, man. I think we have a really good team. I'm super excited. I'm already loving this fan base. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And now, here's JT the Brick.
Oh, it's the final hour of the week, man. If this was the summertime, I'd be out in the pool, backyard brick, maybe have a Tito's, a little splash of club soda, a big lime. Be in the pool, get some tree work done in the backyard now, so you get more sun coming in on backyard brick. Perfect for a Tito's in the summer or the winter. Thanks for joining us. Tito's, proud partner of our show. We love the partnership. We love all of our partners here. We thank them all every day when we can, but we thank them especially on Fridays. Jason Horowitz will join us in a moment. We'll talk to him. He's the play-by-play voice of the team. And this is the last hour of the week, so if you want to get through, give us a call at 702-365-9200. We have the Raider Bowl. My son, you can put that up on our YouTube screen, the graphic of Mendoza. Mendoza going up against Dante Moore. That'll happen. I'm calling it the Raider Bowl. Whoever plays great in this game will have the lead in the race to be the first pick. And it could be Dante Moore. If Dante Moore plays brilliant tonight, I'm talking brilliant, like he just plays out of his mind and the Ducks look good, you're going to have your mind changed by Monday. You will. Now, if Mendoza just plays pretty good, I think we'll stick with Mendoza. Most people like Mendoza because Indiana's been amazing, just amazing all year. They've been the best team, clearly, and that'll be fun to see there, too. I'd like to see Mendoza play really well because I think most Raider fans would like to see him the number one pick. Anything could happen. When everything feels like a lock, it's never a lock. Whenever you think there's a lock in sports, going back in time, whenever you think there's going to be a game where, man, this is a lock. I know this team is going to win. I know this team's going to win. And then the next thing you know, the Patriots are trailing 28-3 and they come back and win the Super Bowl against Atlanta. I remember the biggest lock that I remember as a fan is Georgetown, Villanova, right? Hoya, paranoia, Patrick Ewing. Why do I bring this up? Because Jason Horowitz on the call of a Georgetown hoop game coming up here, and you were young, but you remember Hoya paranoia when they were supposed to destroy Pickney and the Villanova Wildcats, and they didn't do it. Nothing's a lock in sports.
It was not even two, JT. In 1985, in that national championship game. When I did, I was fortunate enough in my adult life to get to work with the late, great John Thompson when he was part of our broadcast with Westwood One, and I was studio, and he was courtside with Kevin Kugler and Bill Raftery. And he, it's funny how I envisioned John Thompson as a kid, and then when I was in Syracuse, obviously, because they had that rivalry, compared to like what he was like as an adult, how much I learned from him and enjoyed being around him, how warm he actually was so different than what I expected when I first met him. And I really came to like him so much.
and was very sad when he passed away. Yeah, actually a couple of games with his son as well with JT3. But yeah, I took a couple of Georgetown games this year, and they really need to bounce back because they were. How about this, JT? You want to talk about bad offense? They were 1 for 23 in the second half against the Paul in the loss the other night. We saw some bad offense this year. I don't know if we saw 1 for 23 on a basketball floor and a half, though.
Yeah, that is pretty brutal. Hey, to date myself, I was at the game where a fan threw an orange at the backboard and it exploded. I was at that game at the Dome, and at the Syracuse Georgetown games of the past, and you went to Syracuse, I went to Geneseo. We road tripped to see those games when I saw them in the 80s, in the mid to later 80s. I'll say this to this day, from Super Bowls to great football games, especially college football, the games at the Dome, when they were really getting 30,000 in a couple of those seasons, it defined me as a fan, because I wasn't a fan of Syracuse or Georgetown, but I was brought in to watch it, and it blew my mind, the fan intensity. Fans didn't sit down. Every bucket felt like it was life and death.
So my first intro to Syracuse was the John Wallace team, the 66, the 96 Final Four team. And I really started to like them, and then Jason Hart and some of those guys. And then obviously my sophomore year at Syracuse was the Carmelo Anthony National Championship team. And then my senior year, Georgetown was starting to come back a little bit. And a couple years later, they ended up making with Roy Hibbert and different Jonathan Wallace, with John Thompson III. It's been a long road back for them, and yeah, you're right. I mean, the Carrier Dome, when it gets 30,000, 35,000, it's been a long time. They've been struggling to get that type of, or anything close to that, the last 15 years or so.
Absolutely. Jason Horowitz is our guest. So tell me about the Raider Bowl tonight, as I call it, Mendoza, and versus Dante Moore. What are you looking at specifically when you look at just the style of these quarterbacks? I don't care who wins the game. Oh, should we care about the outcome or more the results of the individual stats of the quarterbacks?
It's really interesting. My son asked me today, like, do you think the Raiders will just take whoever wins tonight? And it's funny because I feel like, Clay and the morning show yesterday were talking about, like, what does it matter who wins in regard to who Raider fans should want the Raiders to take? And that's obviously assuming that Dante Moore declares for the draft, and we don't know that yet. So I hope that they both play really well. Like last night, I don't know how much. I'm sure you watched the whole game last night, JT, but like Chambliss and Brock played so well last night. They did. Both quarterbacks played so well, and ultimately it came down to a final Hail Mary, and they both made so many plays. And I hope that's what it looks like tonight, so that Raider Nation feels good about whatever quarterback they take. Because the reality is, we don't know which of those quarterbacks that John Spytek and Tom Brady and company like better. And tonight's another data point, like this is the biggest game that either of these quarterbacks has ever played in. They just happen to be going head to head. And if they both played great, then it's just one more data point where you're like, okay, I saw them, and the next one, maybe the other guy would get it. I feel good with either one.
So, I mean, I don't know how much you watched of both of them. I haven't watched a lot. We were both pretty busy doing our jobs here with the Raiders. But when you see Mendoza, the size, I like what he does with the hip fakes, the pump fakes, the hip movement, the way he's able to see and go through his progressions. And God, that's what Gino was actually really good at in Seattle that didn't work here because, as you know, you called the plays. Gino didn't have enough time to go through his progressions. And if Mendoza was playing behind an offensive line like this in college or the pros, he wouldn't either. What's it like when you're trying to go through a progression, but after you get through your first one, you're getting annihilated? You watch that all year long with the Raider quarterbacks.
Yeah. What's interesting is like the Ohio State, so watch the whole Big Ten championship. Mm-hmm. And they didn't put up a huge total, but I think most people, even though Indiana was undefeated and had already gone to Oregon and won, Ohio State was undefeated. They're the defending national champion. They've got a roster full of NFL talent. And I think people just assumed that they would lose. And he took some sacks, and he got hit. And in the third and fourth quarter, though, JT, like, he still made the plays. Like, he found guys to move the chains, move the ball enough, keep the ball, even when he was getting hit. And he's not like a runner. Indiana does a lot of the RPO that we've come accustomed to with college, but he's not a real, like, what we picture a threat of a collegiate running quarterback, but he is someone who maneuvers the pocket really well. And I like that about him a lot. And if you give him a couple of seconds, he processes it so well. He really does. And I think Dante Moore, and I haven't seen enough of Oregon this year, and he's a one-year starter. But I think that Dante Moore is a guy that, when people talk about, like, and I hate this phrase, all the throws.
Yeah.
But when people talk about how good his throw is and how good of a passer he is, I think they're talking about what you want an NFL quarterback to be. The caveat to him, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I heard Todd McShay talk about this from all of his experience breaking down the draft. He's like, all of our history of the last 25, 30 years of me doing this says guys who don't make 20 collegiate starts don't become good NFL quarterbacks. And that would make me a little nervous.
Yeah. That should. Jason Horowitz is our guest. Clint Kubiak checks all the boxes for me. But everyone says, does he have the personality or not? I don't know him. I don't know if you've met him. If he doesn't have a personality like Gruden or Antonio Pierce, Pete had a different one than Josh McDaniels. The personality develops when you're in your 20s, 30s, before you get your 40s and 50s. I mean, Vince Lombardi was different in his 20s than he was in his 50s. You just develop. But some guys are mild-mannered. I like Kubiak because of a couple of reasons. You can lock him in with a young quarterback, and they can start together and start that journey together. He loves to run the football. Seattle ran it down the throats of the Niners the other day. I mean, they were vicious up front. And then I like the lineage of his dad and Elway, and now growing up and working with Shanahan. He recently worked in Minnesota. I mean, Denver, look at where he's been with all of these quarterback minds and quarterback gurus. I kind of like that fit.
Yeah, I like it too. I think there's a reason to compare him to, in terms of when you talk about father-son lineage, obviously Mike Shanahan won Super Bowls, and Kyle Shanahan has been a very successful NFL coach. I mean, you could knock, I know people like to say he can't win the big one, but I go the other way, which is he has multiple times gotten to the big one with different quarterbacks, right? And we saw Jimmy Garoppolo, and people want to knock Brock Purdy. He was the last pick, and he has gotten there. And this year they were devastated by injuries, and lo and behold, they were in line to have the possible number one seed. And so, can't knock what Kyle Shanahan and company does. So they understand why people like Clint Kubiak. And to be honest, they see another similarity for me. Seattle doesn't have a great offensive line. It's okay, it's good, great. And what you did. They were good enough on offense. He was creative enough on offense to make it work and work well. And I think he is someone that he's going to have his pick. It's not just like, hey, do the Raiders want to hire him? Do the Raiders want to hire him, and does he want to hire the Raiders? Right? Because he's going to have his pick of multiple teams, I would think. And I think the caveat and the carrot of having the number one pick and maybe having some influence about which quarterback you want to work with is intriguing to whoever the Raiders hire, and I think that's a solid thing to dangle. But I'm with you. I think he checks all the boxes, but I don't know his personality. I've never met him. I haven't talked to him. I've just a couple of times, but I don't know what that is. And I think obviously that's part of the investigative process that ownership and Tom Brady and John Spytek are doing.
All right, in the final few minutes, let's have some fun and pick some games. Lean for some games. Panthers are a 10-point underdog, 10.5. They beat the Rams in that building, and they dominated them in that building. I think the Rams are going to win. That's a long flight. That's a good team waiting for them. And now Carolina has a chip on their shoulder because they're massive underdogs. Should we be concerned with the Rams? Because Devontae's not at 100%, but he'll be back in this game.
What's interesting, though? The Rams, ever since Devontae got hurt, went to a lot of team personnel.
Yeah.
I heard this stat yesterday, which is 3 tight ends. Matt Stafford, with 3 tight ends on the field this year, threw 20 passes. It's an insane number. And, Carolina's got a variety of different defensive looks. But I wouldn't be concerned. I actually think the Rams are going to go from Charlotte all the way to the Super Bowl, JT. That's my Super Bowl pick.
All right, my NFC pick before the season, because I don't change it. I give it in August. I got to stay with it, was the Packers, but they don't have Micah Parsons. And they didn't have Micah Parsons when I made the pick, but their tight end's out. The Bears, the only problem I see the Bears having here, because Green Bay's a road favorite by 1.5, is the stage too big for Caleb? Does it change that much from the regular season to the playoffs? And I kind of think it does when we get to the level and the history of this rivalry.
You know, I saw him in person in the Pac-12 championship at Allegiant Stadium when they got smoked by Utah. And it, you know, you could talk about the offensive line struggles for USC in that game. So there's some of that. And obviously it doesn't really correlate, but it's the only like, oh my God, I've seen him in a championship moment or a playoff moment. And he battled. He was pretty rough, really, in the second half. Now that's 3 years ago or whatever it is. So I don't know if that's a fair comparison. Packers defense was really bad the last 2-3 weeks. They really were. So I lean Chicago. At home, this is a city that's been waiting to have opportunities like this and feel like they actually are a possible Super Bowl type team. So no, I think Chicago at home in this one is good to go.
God, I'd love to see the Bills win the Super Bowl, and I've been saying it for years when the Raiders are not in it or eliminated it. If they can't get out of the first round with no Joe Burrow, no Lamar Jackson, and no Patrick Mahomes, I don't care that the new stadium's coming online, which is going to be great. Yeah. The heat that's going to come down, including Josh Allen, he can only do so much. Yeah. I can't see the Bills losing this game. I know Jacksonville's been playing well. Are you on the Bills? Are we good in Buffalo?
I actually think Jacksonville wins.
Oh,
like, and it's not Josh Allen. You know, they're going to run the football. Like Buffalo, you know, James Cook led the NFL in rushing yards, and they're going to run the football. And Josh Allen is wonderful, but defense is Buffalo's defense. Really all year. I mean, think about week 1. They gave them they should have lost to Baltimore. And Miami's offense was terrible when I saw them in week 3, and they were moving the ball. And they kind of continued all year long, and nobody's been better. You know, look, Liam Cohen's first year as head coach, but he's found something with Trevor Lawrence here, who has had in the stadium playoff success, right? Chargers fans know that. So I actually think Jacksonville, who's got a really good run defense in the NFL in the front, I think Jacksonville's going to win. And now you're going to have, JT, when you hear on Monday, the question's going to be, is Buffalo open too?
Yeah.
Because people have been calling for Sean McDermott's job. And by the way, he's in that John Harbaugh category. Like, yes, well, John won a Super Bowl. Sean didn't. But, like, people forget what Buffalo was before he got there compared to the fact that now if you don't win the Super Bowl, you're not good enough. That means you did a lot really well to get there. But if they lose to Jacksonville, that might be open too.
Chargers, Patriots, if the Chargers had their full offensive line and it was elite and they were playing together, and Herbert, it's the non-throwing hand here. I mean, look, the Chargers are due. They've played in this rivalry in the playoffs with the Patriots and have been on some bad luck on the wrong side of this deal. I think the Chargers are going to be a really tough out, but the Patriots, the way they playing at home, I'm going to give them the advantage. You leaning Patriots or Chargers?
I'm leaning Patriots. Nighttime, New England. And of course, the weather's getting colder out here this week and might be raining, the whole thing. Herbert, I give those guys a lot of credit for what's up through injury-wise to be as good as they are. And I know they got the rest the other week, and they rested most of the starters in Denver because they weren't going to win the division and all that stuff. You know, I think people keep waiting for Drake May and company to falter, and I know everyone talks about the schedule that they had and as easy as it was to get where they are and all those things. But I don't see it. I see a defense. I see a team. I see a culture. I see the whole thing. Like Vrabel's playoff success, all of that. I see New England at home, and then I look forward to seeing what happens after that. And obviously, it depends who wins. You know, I still think Matt Stafford's the MVP, not Drake May.
Okay.
I think New England is legitimately a really good football team.
And the Eagles, big line move. It went from 4.5 to 6 because more Niner linebackers are down. Niners got a built-in excuse. Everybody's hurt. Once the season started and there was no Bosa and Warner, I didn't think they'd get this far, but they had that last place schedule. I think the Niners are tough as hell and built to go win this game. I just can't give it to them with the injuries. Eagles, Niners, who do you got?
Eagles. And I just same thing. I mean, there's too much good for Philadelphia. He is kind of hit or miss with people all year long. And the point, JT is like negative with AJ Brown and all those things. And they had the 3-game losing skid, and then we saw them and, turn things around. I think Philadelphia is for that one. And after that, that's probably it for me.
All right, and last one, Houston. Everybody's on Houston 9 in a row, but Aaron Rodgers versus C.J. Stroud, Pittsburgh with that element, and Renegade playing and coming this far and not only knocking out Harbaugh, but Harbaugh's now got fired. Did Pittsburgh come this far to lose this game to a Texans team? Texans don't win much in the playoffs. They're good to talk about, but are they going to get on a roll here?
They actually do win in the playoffs, though. Like, haven't they won the first round each year? Yeah. Now, it was at home.
Yeah.
It was at home. That was the difference. Like, to say C.J. Stroud is, young playoff compared to Aaron Rodgers, they last 4 years, won a whole lot more playoff games than Aaron Rodgers. So, no, I just think Houston's defense is, Baltimore's defense and Houston's defense does not. And, Pittsburgh's left tackle is not their starting left tackle. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a major problem when you're talking about Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. And so Aaron Rodgers, the time he got the throw last week against Baltimore, it's not happening this week. I think he's been low scoring like 20-16 like that.
I have a feeling I'll be talking to you in the next couple of weeks with a coach, and before that, much longer before the draft, but we probably will have some type of interview we're doing together when the coach is hired. Last one, do you think the coach could be hired soon? We stay in our lanes with the team, but Clay says AFC Championship game week. I agree. It's got to be before Radio Row and the Super Bowl. You think this thing could come in the next 6 to 7 days?
The timing of maybe I'm naive to this. The timing of it worries so much. Like I understand, like you want to have your coach and you want to be updated. Like that part of it, there's too many teams, so I think that's going to push teams to make decisions faster. I'd be more concerned about getting the decision right.
Correct.
Getting the decision quick manner. I think the Raiders' best carrion here, though, JT, is number one, more so than anything else. This roster is kind of, depleted when it comes to overall talent compared to some of the other teams that are looking for head coaches. And so the fact that you had the chance to start it over, you were the worst team in football this year. You have the number one pick. There's something positive about that. And so I think it does that part of it for the tourniquet.
All the best, my friend. Hope to talk to you soon. Thank you.
Hoya Paranoia.
There it is. Hoya Paranoia. Jason Horowitz on the Georgetown call coming up as he's doing his gig with College Hoops, which he does a great job with that too. Well, that was a nice long conversation, about 20 minutes with him. I appreciate him. And Mike in Hawaii. I guess we have Mike in Hawaii, Clay says. We don't want to make the Hawaiians wait on hold. How are you, Mike?
Hey, aloha, JT, man. Maui's coming up soon.
Yeah, normally I'd be in Maui now. You know me. I go to Maui when we have a coach, but I can't go to Maui now because we don't have a coach, and I might have to fly from Maui to do that. I'd be in Maui right now because I love to go to Maui before the Super Bowl.
Well, you know what? No worries, because when you're there, you'll just be happy you didn't go before. You'll be there then. So
yes, you're
have
right.
a great time. And I want to say, tell Mark that he needs to do something over here on Oahu. We have a huge Raider following, and I think they probably can't have a whole training camp logistically, but even if they came over here for some amount of time, it'd be great. But real quick, about Mendoza more, what am I looking for? I'm really just watching the QBs, as you've been stating. I watched Dante play some for UCLA when he was coming up.
Mm-hmm.
He was alienated by Chip Kelly, obviously, and left the program.
Mm-hmm.
But no, his decision making is developing. I know as a freshman, he came in young. His decision making was questionable at times. I'm a huge Mendoza guy. I actually think that he is underrated. I think people are picking him apart, his personality, this and that. I think the guy seems like he's anointed. He's a winner. And I think we're going to see a lot tonight with him going against Moore. And also, we got Miami coming up next.
Yeah.
So whoever comes out of this game, you're talking about a good defense. We thought Ohio State was our defense. Mendoza won that game. I think going against Miami on that stage is even bigger. So I think we're blessed to be able to get these comps and these games ahead of us. But I think lastly, everybody's saying, oh, the next Tom Brady, this and that. Look, I'm looking for the next Rich Gannon. I loved Rich Gannon. I met him in Napa camp in 2002, and he was such a cerebral assassin. I know Mendoza is kind of more of a fun guy, but he's developing. Let's see how Mendoza does in the pros as he grows up, as he matures into an adult. And if he has that dog in him, it seems like people gravitate towards him. They love playing with him. And I think a guy like that, he's always going to get better. He's a football animal.
Yeah.
And so, I just think pair him with the right head coach. You mentioned Kubiak. It's kind of the same what happened with Gruden. I think he would have been a great playing for Gruden with his RPO that Gruden runs. But let's see. So I don't want to take up your time.
Thank
Love
you.
your show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You have a great time. Aloha. Appreciate you calling in from Hawaii. That means a lot. Miami is hosting, Clay, the national championship game.
Yeah.
Can you let it sink in? They're hosting the national championship game. Their alumni and that whole region now knows to get there. You don't have to have a ticket to the game. I've been to that stadium. Where it is, it's not Miami. It's closer to Fort Lauderdale. So it's weird. It's not in Miami where the campus is. Everyone in South Florida is going to that parking lot to get their drink on and tailgate. Only the people who have money are getting in. But everybody's going. Can you imagine being an Indiana fan walking through that parking lot?
It's a momentum you don't want to get in front of.
Every Miami fan who's ever lived is going to be sitting there with a tailgate and a pickup truck door open with cocktails, with chains around their neck, music blaring, and Mendoza or Dante Moore got to go into that. That's a home field advantage.
It's beyond. There's no neutral site to that.
No neutral site to that at all. Man, it's the perfect storm. That's why I'd like to see Indiana win tonight. I'd like to see Mendoza go into that lunacy. That's like going in. That's like rolling into a spot where you're in a nightclub or you're on the prison yard and you're looking around going, whoa, what's up, man? This is different right around here. What where's the doors? I gotta look for the doors. I can get out that way or that way. This is going to be nuts. So I hope Indiana wins because I've been on the Mendoza ride a little bit longer than Dante Moore, but we'll see how it plays out. The Lincoln Kennedy segment coming up. Thanks to the bricklayers. Man, we are over 8,000 subs. We're getting to 10 pretty quickly here. Please subscribe for free and help us out on the YouTube. You're helping out my son, who's kind of doing the side hustle with it. It's JT the Brick YT on YouTube. The Lincoln Kennedy segment coming up next. Thank you, everybody. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the game tonight. Monday, noon to 2. Monday night, Mad Dog. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Mad Dog. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Mad Dog. Take care, everybody. Please hit like and subscribe if you can, please. Thank you.